So this is the 21st century, isn't it? As we all know that 21st century is an era marked by globalization, rapidly evolving technologies, changes in the structure of society, and many more. But do you guys remember reading about earliest form of social life where the human beings in the primitive age lived in the forest with other animals and their life was very difficult? And the fulfillment of basic needs totally dependent on nature. They had to encounter with wild animals, and gradually humans started to live in small groups, and in organized society they started to share the feelings of happiness and hardship to each other. But what if I say there are still people who are living the primitive life? And guess what? It's right. There are still people who are living a solitary life far away from human society, far away from globalization. So today in this video session, we're gonna talk about North Sentinel Island, which consists of a bunch of people who are living a primitive life even in this 21st century. North Sentinel Island is one of the Andaman Islands. If we have to talk about the location of this island, then it is an Indian archipelago in the Bay of Bengal. And it is home to the indigenous people, and these indigenous people living in North Sentinel Island are in voluntary isolation. They are one of the few mostly uncontacted groups left in the world. And do you know how this isolated island came in the attention of the world? The death of an American tourist who illegally visited the isolated North Sentinel Island had drawn the world's attention, so there was an American tourist who illegally visited the isolated North Sentinel Island. As a result of which, the world's attention was drawn to the small island's reclusive inhabitants, that is, indigenous people of that island. The Sentinelese people are related to other indigenous groups in the Andaman Island. Andaman is a chain of islands in India's Bay of Bengal, but they have been isolated for long enough that other Andaman groups like Ong and the Jarwa can't understand their language. If we have to talk about the lifestyle of Sentinelese, then they probably live on fruits and tubers that grow wild on the island, eggs from the seagulls or turtles, and small game like wild pigs or birds. They carry bows and arrows as well as spears and knives. The Sentinelese, they fish and they harvest crabs. They are hunters and gatherers. The main question is, why don't the Sentinelese like visitors? The Sentinelese remained undisturbed for nearly a century, until an Indian merchant ship called the Nain ran aground on the reef. Around 86 passengers and 20 crew managed to swim and splash their way to the beach. They huddled there for 3 days before the Sentinelese evidently decided the intruders had overstayed their welcome. So the Sentinelese, they thought that no, now they stayed for so long. And after a certain point, the Sentinelese, they attacked them with bows and iron-tipped arrows. Passengers and crew responded with sticks and stones, and the things messed up. So it is like if we try to venture into their territory without respecting their wishes or got too close for comfort, they would turn their back on us. They prefer to live a solitary life undisturbed by other human society. Most of what is known about the Sentinelese have been gathered by viewing them from boats, and the boats were moored more than arrow's distance from the shore. It is thought that Sentinelese, they live in 3 small bands. They have 2 different types of houses. During the 1970s, the Indian authorities made occasional trips to the North Sentinel in an attempt to befriend the tribe. On one of these trips, 2 pigs and a doll were left on the beach. Sentinelese, they speared the pigs and buried them along with the doll. Such visits became more regular in the 1980s. The team would try to land at a place out of the reach of arrows and leave gifts such as coconuts, bananas, and bit of irons. Sometimes the Sentinelese appeared to make friendly gestures. At others, they would take the gifts into the forest and then fire arrows to the contact party. The extreme isolation makes them very vulnerable to diseases to which they have no immunity. But the tribe have made it clear that they do not want any contact. Neighboring tribes were wiped out after the British colonized their islands, And the saddest thing is, they lack immunity to common diseases like flu or measles, which would decimate their population. So therefore, the Sentinelese are an uncontact tribe living on North Sentinel Island, one of the Andaman Islands in the Indian Ocean. They vigorously reject all contact with outsiders,